At lunchtime on Friday, we became aware that there was what we reported was a suspected skimming device on an ATM in a shopping centre in the Queen Street Mall. Members of the staff went down and we found that there was not only one of these devices secured to an ATM, or partially secured an ATM because it actually was dislodged by the curious customer, but a second one on the machine completely beside it. I should say rather immediately beside it. We soon established that we had card skimmers in town, and I say that because from history we know that they tend to be from Eastern European locations. They'll hit various parts of Australia and they'll migrate around this country, and they'll move very quickly. They may only be in the entire continent for 2 weeks before they depart to another overseas location, and that's where we'll see the money being ripped off from. And that's exactly what's happened on this occasion, but rather than we know that money has actually been extracted from compromised accounts already, whilst the offenders are actually still plying their trade here in Australia. We haven't seen them in Australia before. We've heard reports about similar devices being used in Europe. They actually integrate the camera. Previously what they would have would be use a camera from a mobile phone. It would be secreted in a fascia plate above the PIN pad for the ATM, and that was to record the PIN number going in. This time, however, they've actually integrated a very neat little camera into a very small pinhole, and it when you look at how it sits on the ATM itself, you can see there's the pinhole camera, and it immediately will capture the fingers punching out that crucial PIN number. With that PIN number, they can take money out of the account from literally any ATM anywhere in the world. People think that when their card is skimmed, they lose their money, the money is returned by the bank, the game is over, everything's good. Everything's not good. The reality is the crooks now have your bank account number. They now can determine which bank issued your card. They now have your identity, and that's just the starting point. Do you have a Facebook account? Do you have the same name that you use on your card and your bank account on your Facebook account? Guess what? Did you actually say what suburb you lived in? Perhaps give out your address? Did you actually put a photograph on there that you took with your iPhone that you didn't actually cancel out the locator information? So the crooks can actually find you on Facebook, determine your location through the GPS integrated geotagging data in your photos that you uploaded. Now they know exactly where you live, and that is more than ample enough information to go on, take out an online loan application or a new credit card in your name. This is not the end, it's just the beginning. They will trade your information. Your identity is worth money to the crooks, and they will trade it for identity theft specialists. And they will then look to use your good name to actually reap far greater profits. And we are seeing a greater trend towards identity takeovers.
What's my identity worth? You sell that information on the black market. What can crooks get for it?
Depends on who you are, depending on what your profile is, what your occupation is, therefore what your estimated gross salary may be every year will determine what your identity is worth. But you, for example, on the massive salary that you earn, and it looks at how much potential debt you are, what sort of a house you live in, what's your profile. But your identity could go for as little as $10, or it could go for $100, it could go for $1,000. Depends what the potential yield may be. Because they're not here by accident. They do their planning, they do their reconnaissance, they understand when to go and where to go. It's not by accident they've picked a major city, they've picked coming up to the greatest retail bonanza time of the year, where the ATMs get the biggest workout, and they've gone and placed it right in the middle of the city in a major shopping centre at lunchtime. Every time you go to an ATM, look at the card entry point. That's the great vulnerability point. Give it a bit of a wiggle. It should not be loose, but we know they attach these things with with double-sided sticky tape, so it will come off if you give it a little bit of a twist. Excuse me. Look at that card entry point. It should be a nice, sealed, firm, integrated unit. The ATM skimmer will actually protrude because it's an attachment. So there will be a crease line around the outside of it. So look for that. Cover your hand when you enter your PIN number. Consider changing your PIN number more regularly than perhaps you do. Many people never change it in their entire lifetime. look at and review your bank statements every month. Look for any anomalies on the account. And if you have been skimmed, as I said before, the game is not over when the bank returns your money. Give consideration to registering your name with a credit rating agency that will monitor your good name, and if anyone attempts to take a loan instrument, will contact you first to ensure that it is valid.